You own a bond, its history, Part 1. The Templars of the Crown. The Crown Temple. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes just how deeply rooted this extraordinary mega-commercial strawman/bond fraud truly is. This huge deception, legal fraud, goes back centuries. Here we see the longevity, forward planning, and sheer patience that has carried us, in ignorance, to this momentous time in our combined history. The organization of which literally has one almost speechless with incredulity. If only these great efforts and energy were used for the benefit of all peoples, the world could have been a very different place today. Nay, would be a different place today. The enormity and worldwide reach of commercial law, the tool of the ruling elite behind admiralty jurisdiction, that is, those who've distanced and hidden their clandestine works from public view and understanding, today controls most of the world through legal law, i.e., commercial law, through their number one agents. The bankers and the Inns of Court. The true crown. The Queen of England is not the crown we think she is. The Inns of Court are the crown, in fact. In this series of videos, we'll see just how our countries, the UK, USA, and Canada, along with Oceania and all ex-empire states, have been aggregately drawn into this massive legal global corporate banksters fraud. No longer are we human beings, we've become consumers. Data on a spreadsheet, energy for use, bonded slaves for sale. Thus, you own a bond. We were unknowingly placed into slavery through this bond, by the very folk we, as a people, trusted. Our leaders. Here's what led up to this deceitful global mass deception, drawing us all into the world of commerce, and away from living as human beings. Please be sure to visit linked website in video description to the right of this video, and confirm findings. Take nothing for granted. The governmental and judicial systems within the United States of America, at both federal and local state levels, is owned by the Crown, which is a private foreign power. Before jumping to conclusions about the Queen of England or the royal families of Britain owning the USA, this is a different crown, and is fully exposed and explained below. We are specifically referencing the established Templar Church, known for centuries by the world as the Crown. From this point on, we will also refer to the Crown as the Crown Temple or Crown Templar, all three being synonymous. First, a little historical background. The Temple Church was built by the Knights Templar in two parts, the Round and the Chancel. The Round Church was consecrated in 1185 and modeled after the circular Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. The Chancel was built in 1240. The Temple Church serves both the inner and middle temples, see below, and is located between Fleet Street and Victoria Embankment at the Thames River. Its grounds also house the Crown offices at Crown Office Row. This Temple Church is outside any canonical jurisdiction. The master of the temple is appointed and takes his place by sealed, non-public, patent, without induction or institution. All licensed bar attorneys, attorneys, see definitions below, in the U.S. owe their allegiance and give their solemn oath in pledge to the Crown Temple, realizing this or not. This is simply due to the fact that all bar associations throughout the world are signatories and franchises to the International Bar Association located at the Inns of Court at Crown Temple, which are physically located at Chancery Lane behind Fleet Street in London. Although they vehemently deny it, all bar associations in the U.S., such as the American Bar Association, the Florida Bar, or California Bar Association, are franchises to the Crown. The Inns of Court, see below, the four Inns of Court, to the Crown Temple use the banking and judicial system of the City of London, a sovereign and independent territory which is not a part of Great Britain, just as Washington City, as D.C. was called in the 1800s, is not a part of the North American states, nor is it a state, to defraud, coerce, and manipulate the American people. These Fleet Street bankers and lawyers are committing crimes in America under the guise and color of law. See definitions for legal and lawful below. They are known collectively as the Crown. Their lawyers are actually Templar bar attorneys, not lawyers. The present Queen of England is not the Crown, as we have all been led to believe. Rather, it is the bankers and attorneys who are the actual Crown or Crown Temple. The monarch aristocrats of England have not been ruling sovereigns since the reign of King John, circa 1215. All royal sovereignty of the old British Crown since that time has passed to the Crown Temple in Chancery. The USA is not the free and sovereign nation that our federal government tells us it is. If this were true, we would not be dictated to by the Crown Temple through its bankers and attorneys. The USA is controlled and manipulated by this private foreign power, and our unlawful federal US government is their pawnbroker. The bankers and bar attorneys in the USA are a franchise in oath and allegiance to the Crown at Chancery, the Crown Temple Church and its chancel located at Chancery Lane, a manipulated body of elite bankers and attorneys from the independent city of London who violate the law in America by imposing fraudulent legal, but totally unlawful, contracts on the American people. The banks rule the Temple Church, and the attorneys carry out their orders by controlling their victims' judiciary. Since the first chancel of the Temple Church was built by the Knights Templar, this is not a new ruling system by any means. The chancel, or chancery, of the Crown Inner Temple Court was where King John was, in January 1215, when the English barons demanded that he confirm the rights enshrined in the Magna Carta. This city of London Temple was the headquarters of the Templar Knights in Great Britain, where order and rule were first made, which became known as Code. Remember all these terms, such as Crown, Temple, Templar, Knight, Chancel, Chancery, Court, Code, Order and Rule, as we tie together their origins with the present American Temple bar system of thievery by equity, Chancery, contracts. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto wide sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones, and of all uncleanness. Matthew 23:27. By what authority has the Crown usurped the natural sovereignty of the American people? Is it acceptable that the U.S. Supreme Court decides constitutional issues in the USA? How can it be considered in any manner as being constitutional when this same Supreme Court is appointed by, not elected, and paid by the federal U.S. government? As you will soon see, the land called North America belongs to the Crown Temple. The legal system, judiciary, of the USA is controlled by the Crown Temple from the independent and sovereign city of London. The private Federal Reserve System, which issues fiat U.S. Federal Reserve notes, is financially owned and controlled by the Crown from Switzerland, the home and legal origin for the charters of the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Trade Organization, and most importantly, the Bank of International Settlements. Even Hitler respected his crown bankers by not bombing Switzerland. The Bank of International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, controls all the central banks of the G7 nations. He who controls the gold rules the world. By Rule of Mystery Babylon, please view at http://nessara.insights2.org.